Chapter 5. Coach children to learn about learning. When children take the initiative to play on their own and or work well together, it can be one of the most rewarding outcomes for teachers. What we have to do is avoid interrupting this play with our agenda, taking over the play, or overwhelming the play. Instead, scaffold the initiative and the play. As we talked about earlier, utilize Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. Think about the level the children are working at right now, and then what would come next, and then stop and watch what the children are doing and see if there's a way that you can use the zone of proximal development to scaffold that to help the children reach a higher level. We also have to make sure to consider children's genetic characteristics discussed by temperament theory. Temperament theory talks about 3 different types of temperament: easy temperament, difficult, and slow to warm temperament. Easy temperament, a child adapts easily to change, is usually positive and happy, curious, and has mild reactions to sensory experiences. On the other end of the spectrum is difficult temperament. For this individual, the mood is usually negative. They're very sensitive to sensory stimulus. They have trouble adjusting to new situations and people, and can't focus on activities when there are distractions. And somewhere in the middle is slow to warm temperament, which these children or individuals have negative reactions to change and sensory experiences in the beginning, but adjust with time and without pressure. And so what we need to remember is these are genetic characteristics that won't change over time, but we can help each individual temperament develop skills to help them interact with other people effectively. And one of the main things that we need to do for all 3 temperaments is to assist the children to be assertive or stand up for themselves without taking advantage of other people, which would be being aggressive. So we want them all to be assertive, but not aggressive. Also, make sure your relationship with each child promotes secure attachment. Secure attachments form when adults consistently meet children's needs and are positive in the interactions with the children. Children feel comfortable to take the initiative to independently explore and discover the world around them when they have secure attachments. With insecure attachments, these form when adults meet children's needs only sometimes or not at all, and the interactions between the adult and the children tend to be negative. Children tend to be anxious and worried and remain near adults rather than exhibiting initiative and independence to explore the world around them when they're insecurely attached. So in this way, we can be very proactive in helping children develop the skills they need to learn by forming secure attachments with them. So principle 1 for chapter 5, help children see that learning is a process with components that they can practice. Children are focused on and know they are learning new skills, and they will even brag about their skills. Bring to the children's attention what they are learning and planning. A good example is presented in chapter 5 on page 114 about Lego play. Principle 2, invite the children to assess their learning. Invite the children into the documentation process and to reflect on their work through them assisting with classroom displays and portfolios, and make these things available to children. Take a look at the photos of children looking at portfolios on page 117 of your textbook. Principle 3, coach children to use tools and strategies to learn. Some tools and skills require instruction and support to facilitate success, like scissors. Take a look at page 119 of Chapter 5, and you'll see that even toddlers are very interested in learning scissor skills. Principle 4, plan coaching sessions separate from playtime. So show the children the possibilities of tools and give them time to practice, and then tell the children they can invent more ways to use the tools. Principle 5, help children use reference materials to support their learning. If you look on pages 125 to 126, there's a vignette about stone sculptures, and it shows you how a reference book on stone sculptures help children create their own sculptures. Principle 6, teach children to look closely. Facilitate and support children's observation skills, paying attention to what is around them, and then focusing on spatial relationships, facial expressions, and drawings. And a good example, or a list of examples that can help you think about this, is Through the Looking Glass, which is in the yellow section on page 129. Principle 7, teach children to draw by seeing clearly. Provide lots of open-ended time to draw. Help them look for details and point it out when they include details in their drawing in an encouragement type of way. So take a look at page 131, the vignette, Look a Little, Draw a Little. Principle 8, offer stories and dramas as tools for coaching. Tell stories using three-dimensional props to captivate the children's attention, just like in Dialogue Theater on page 133. And finally, Principle 9, support children to learn from their friends. Children can support each other in understanding. And you can see this in Be My Friend on pages 134 to 136 and the series of notes to Benny. And then Engineering Teams on page 137, sharing skills with their partners.